Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Okay, Makeshri, your daughter's there? Oh, sorry. Hemangi, your daughter's there? Is Makeshri there? No. Okay, don't worry. So,
we're on separately, but we're in the same room together.
Okay, that's pretty normal. Okay, so first of all, Alpha Pranam Sar Gurudev, Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Arupanuga Guru Parampara, all devotees, Hare Krishna. So we started a little English class for new people, and probably many people learning English through this also, which is good. So we're hearing a little bit from the 9th chapter. This is the most confidential knowledge, Rajaguhya Vidya, Rajaguhya Yoga, the yoga of most confidential knowledge. Right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives many levels of knowledge. First is general knowledge, then Atma Tattva, then Paramatma Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva. Many things Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita. The problem is when many people read Gita, they take one instruction out of context and present this as the teaching of the Gita. But when we do so, no, any verse you have to look before, in what context it's spoken, and after. So these middle 6 chapters are the conclusion. And of that 9th chapter maybe is the most confidential. So we're hearing yesterday, Krishna himself gives the definition, who is good and who is bad, who is divine and who is demonic. So those, according to Krishna's estimation, those who do not accept the eternality of his transcendental form, then Krishna says, Moga asa, Moga karmeshu, Moga jnana vichetasa, asraksha simasuras chevam prakritim mohinim asrita. Those who think Krishna is a human being who accepts one body, then changes it, accepts another body like an ordinary soul. No, but Krishna never changes body. His body is eternal. Avyayam, without transformation, without change. He's eternally 15 years, 8 months, and 2 weeks old. So those who think Krishna has a material body made of the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Those who think there's a difference between Krishna's body and Krishna's soul. These are all demonic persons. No? So Krishna says, Mogasa, all their desires, their bewilderment, they're bewildered in the fulfillment of all their desires. Karma Mogasa, they're bewildered in all their activities. Moga Gyan Vichetasa, they're bewildered in the cultivation of real knowledge. Vichetasa, their minds are always distracted. Rakshasim Asurams Cheva, they're demonic persons. Prakritim Mohim Asrita, they've taken shelter of the material nature. So separate from them, Krishna gives the second category of the devotees who accepts the eternality of Krishna's form. So Krishna speaks 2 very nice verses describing the great souls of the devotees. Mahatmanas tu mama partha devam prakritimasrita vajante ananya manasa gyatva bhutadim avyayam satatam kitayantomam yatantascha dvidabrata namasyantis tamam vaktya nityayuktu pasate. Very important verses. If we can learn these 2 verses, this will help us a lot. So Krishna himself describes the great souls. Who is a great soul? Mahatmanas tu mama pata. So separate from the non-devotees, the demonic, actually someone may have all good qualities. They may be very truthful, very honest, very clean, even very merciful, very compassionate, very intelligent, very expert, very soumya, very well behaved. But if they do not accept the eternality of Krishna's form, then these good qualities have no value. No, Sanatana Goswami quotes, no, that those who have no devotion, then their chanting of mantras, their knowledge, their austerities, everything is useless, like ornaments on a dead body, or like a cow which gives no milk. No? So even devotee may have faults, a person may have many faults, but they accept the eternality of Krishna's form, then this acceptance of Krishna, this itself will destroy all impediments, all obstacles, all unwanted desires, all ignorance. So we have to have strong belief in that. No? So Krishna says, Mahatmanastu mamapata daivam prakritam. The demons take shelter of material nature, no? Sattva, Raja, and Tama. Sometimes we see in the non-devotees, ignorance is predominant, sometimes passion is predominant, sometimes even sattva guna is prominent, but these three are always changing. But devotee transcends all of these. Because Krishna's body has no sattva, raja, and tama. Krishna's body is visuddha sattva. Suddha sattvam vasudeva sattitam. In the Bhagavatam it says, Krishna's body, Krishna's swarup, pure transcendental existence. Prakrita paramopada. Krishna is beyond the material nature. So those who worship Krishna, who take shelter of Krishna, also attain the same nature as Krishna. So Mahatmanastu mamapada devam prakritam asrita. Krishna says, the great souls, they take shelter of the divine potency. Means Krishna's own potency, the Swarup Shakti. And what is the symptoms of such great souls? This soul is so much, this term Mahatma is misused so much. Right, like Mahatma Gandhi. According to Krishna, Mahatma Gandhi is not a Mahatma. Because Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. He not worshipped Krishna with one pointed mind. Actually, Srila Sridhar Maharaj commented, Gandhi was so much famous, he would chant Ram, Ram, Ram. So he said, but for the liberation of India, we can also give up the chanting of the name of Ram. He said like that. So this is not one-pointed. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj said his name was not devotional name or Sudanam. The chanting of Mahatma Gandhi was national Nam. He said like that, national Nam. I mean, he chanting to get something separate from Krishna. So Bhajanti Ananya Manaso, but Mahatmas, the great soul, they worship me with one pointed attention. Ananya, Ananya, no other. Their mind is not going here and there. Gyatva Bhutadim Avyam. And what is their understanding of Krishna? Bhutadim. Bhuta means many things. Bhuta can mean the souls. Bhuta can mean all material existence. So Bhutadim Avyam. To understand that Krishna is the original and imperishable cause of all beings. Even though Krishna produces many things, he not decreases. Even though many complete wholes emanate from the complete whole remains completely whole. I love that verse. So nice. So Krishna produced many things by his potency, but Krishna not diminish. He not decrease. No? So who understands Krishna in that way, no matter how much he expands, no matter how much he produces, he never decreases. He remains without change. So that person is called Mahatma, a great soul. Satatam Kirtayantomam. Krishna gives some more symptoms of the Mahatmas, the great souls, under the shelter of the divine potency, the divine energy. Because Guru Maharaj would explain the soul is like a mustard seed on a knife edge. It has to go here, it has to go there. The soul cannot remain in a neutral position. The soul must take shelter of the divine potency, or it will take shelter of the material potency. So Satatakita Yantomam. The great souls, what is their symptoms? Krishna says. Because how much they are surrendered to Krishna, no one can see that. That is Antarangik Lakshan. But we can see some external things in the Vaishnavas. Satatakita Yantomam. They always perform kirtan. They always chanting Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and activities. Yatantas cha dridabrata. They're very strongly fixed in their vows, their promises. Right? For example, when we come to devotion and we promise, I must follow these 4 regulative principles. No gambling, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication. I must do Ekadasi. I must do my Gayatris. I must do my Harinam. So the devotee is so much unflinching in the fulfillment of these promises. Namasyanti tamam bhaktya. Namasyanti. They always bow to me. They always think I am nothing. I am under the shelter of Krishna. Krishna is the doer. So namasyanti. Their head is not up, their head is always down. Bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. They are always connected with me through upasana, through service, or through worship. Okay. Let me read the translation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Constantly chanting the glories of my names, qualities, forms, and pastimes, endeavoring with the determined vows, and offering obeisances with devotion. They engage in my worship, remaining always connected with me. Like Srila Goga Maharaj, this is some extreme examples of, but these also so much good for us. Srila Goga Maharaj had some painful leg infection. This is a true story, no? He went to the doctor said, we will have to operate. Some problem was with the bone marrow in the bone. So the doctor wanted to give him some anesthetic for the operation, of course. And Goga said, no, how can I take that? Because I promised my Gurudev at the time of initiation, I would not take intoxication. How can I break that promise and take some anesthesia for the operation? So he refused the anesthesia and he said to the doctor, you operate without anesthesia. So he did like this. Of course, this is extreme. I should not say extreme, I should say perfect example of how much he's determined to follow. Of course, we cannot be like that. But at least common things like tea, coffee, ganja, these things we can abstain from. But how much we should be determined. Yes, and he was so much, Prabhupada gave him some services, always translate. So even he would take long international flights. And those persons who take those, they know how much, because of the time zone, differences in the time zone, the strain on the body, flying at altitude, the radiation, how much you feel tired. But no matter what time he would arrive back from those flights, he would come, take bath, sit and do his translation because he promised I would do every day. Imagine. Like Gurudev also, no matter how long he would fly, he would always wake up. You see the next day he's waking up again, 3 o'clock and chanting Harinam. So how much they're determined in their bhajan, no? How much they're determined. So if we can just be like 1 or 2% of that, then our life will be successful. No? So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives another definition of Mahatma, great soul. No? Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses this term a lot in his writings, Vidvat Pratiti. Vidvat Pratiti means proper understanding of an object. No? And the opposite of that is Avidvat Pratiti. No? Misunderstanding of an object, wrong conception. For example, if you give a baboon, if you give him an iPhone, no, this is an example, material example. You give a baboon an iPhone, what do you understand about it? Nothing. Even though he has the object in his hands, he cannot understand because misconception. In the same way, many people, they see Krishna, right? They come to the temple, they see Krishna, they get some book, they hear the holy name of Krishna, but they approach Krishna to avidvat pratiti, misunderstanding. They think Krishna is mythological figure, historical figure, imaginary figure like Smurf or something like this, Pitufa. Even though they read Krishna, because they have misconception, they cannot get the result. Therefore, proper understanding of who is Krishna comes only in the association of the devotees. Okay, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, they understand me properly. They always perform kirtan of my name, form, qualities, and pastimes. They always follow the 9 limbs of devotion: hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers in the temple, worship, ritual worship, becoming the servant of Krishna, becoming the friend of Krishna, serving the lotus feet of Krishna, surrendering everything to Krishna. With determined vows, in order to, they perform the 9 limbs of devotion headed by hearing, chanting, and remembering. With determined vows, in order to attain eternal service to my eternal, all cognizant, and all blissful Shama Sundar form. The great souls perform all activities, bodily, mental, social, or spiritual, with the sole determination of pleasing me. They surrender to me by the process of bhakti yoga, even while living in this material world. This ensures their minds do not become disturbed by materialistic activities. Okay. So Gyan, in verse 15, Krishna says, okay. So some people want to worship, but they worship with misconception. So Krishna speaks for them. Gyan yagina chapi anya yajantu mam upasate ekadvena pratikvena bahuda bishvato mukam. So there are the great souls who worship Krishna in the proper manner, and there are others who engage in sacrifice by cultivating knowledge, gyan. Some worship me with a conception of oneness, some with a conception of duality, and some worship me through the various forms of the demigods, and some worship me as the universal form, right? Different conceptions of Krishna. Okay. So Krishna talks about those who approach him in the correct way, and now some description of those who approach Krishna with the incorrect understanding. They are called Ahangra Upasak, the Pratik Upasak, and the Vishwarup Upasak. 3. Okay. Ahangraha Upasak. No? They worship an object, but then they identify with that object. Okay, which is not good. For example, they worship Shiva, but they think, I am Shiva. Right? They worship Guru, but they think, I am Guru. They worship Krishna, but they think, I am Krishna. This is called Ahangra Upasak. Okay, this is not good. Okay. The Pratik Upasak are inferior to them. They think of themselves as separate from Bhagavan, and they worship the sun, Indra, the Lord of the demigods, with the understanding the sun and Indra are only Bhagavan's opulences or vibhutis. They are less intelligent. They worship everything as separate from Bhagavan, but we know everything is not separate from Bhagavan because everything comes from him. So oneness is there and separateness is there. Okay, this is some, maybe we can skip this, it's not too much for new people. But Krishna is not separate from anything. Okay, we described that the other day. Remember, Krishna is Mayamidam Tatam Sarvam. I pervade everything. I'm in everything. Everything is me, but I am not in them. That was the last discussion. So Krishna says, "O Arjuna, I am the Vedic rituals. I am the fire sacrifice. I am faith. I am the offering. I am the potency. I am the mantra. I am the ghee. I am the fire. I am the sacrifice. I am the mother and father. I am the maintainer of the universe. I am the object of knowledge. I am the purifier. I am the syllable, Om. I am also the Rig, Yajur, and Samavedas. I am destiny. I am the fruit of karma. I am the sustainer, the Lord, the witness, the abode, the shelter, the refuge, and the dearest well-wishing friend. I am the creation. I am the destruction. I am the basis, the foundation, the resting place, and the eternal cause. I am the inexhaustible seed. I give heat, then I withhold it. I release the rain. I am immortality. I am death. I am the cause of everything. I am the effect. I am both spirit and matter. Hare Krishna. So nice. Bhagavad Gita is like a bath. Okay, anyway. This is not for new people. No. So Krishna explains the destination of the materialists. Right? Those who worship Krishna for some material gain, for some material benefit. So, in this world, everyone has to perform sacrifice. Right? For example, as human beings, we are indebted to the trees who give fruit, the plants which give grains, the cows which give milk. No, this earth planet which we walk on and supplies all our necessities. We're dependent upon the sun which gives light, the moon which nourishes all vegetables. No, our parents which give this body. So everyone is dependent on everyone else. No, there's a connection. This is called karma. So the ordinary persons, they're just taking from material existence. They're taking from all these people, the parents, the teachers, the plants, the animals, the demigods, the earth planet. So one who just takes and not gives anything back, that person is like a thief. So in India, there's a class of persons called the karmis. The karmis realize nicely this chain of cause and effect. If I take something, I have to pay that. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Therefore, if I take, I have to give. Therefore, they worship the demigods to become free from debt. So Krishna explains. Such persons perform sacrifice to please the demigods. Okay, let me read. I forgot all this was in the 9th chapter. But Krishna talks about who we should worship, who we should serve. That person who says, I won't serve anyone, that person is a thief because he's constantly taking from everyone and everyone. So those who realize I'm taking so much, I should give back, they're called karmis. So Krishna said, those who are devoted to fruitive activity, this cycle of karma, this is verse 20. If people like, they can read along with the Gita as we go through. Chapter 9, verse 20. Those who are devoted to karma, fruitive activity as described in the 3 Vedas, worship me as Indra or worship me in the form of other demigods by performing yajna. Right? Even though India is so much degraded, still you can see so many people worship Durga at the time of Navaratri, or they worship Shiva, especially Shivaratri. They worship Indra, they worship different demigods, the sun god, like this moon god. So they worship the demigods by performing yajna. But what is their goal? Their goal is heavenly planets. They pray for entrance into the heavenly planets. But unfortunately, that destination is not eternal. No? When they attain the planets of the demigods by virtue of their pious activities, they enjoy the celestial planets of the demigods. So the karmis who follow the path of pious activity, fruitive activity, what's the most they can get? They can get the planet of those persons whom they worship. No? But when their the fruit of their pious activities are exhausted, Krishna says, Sin punya mate lokam bishanti. Krishna says, again, they come back to this material world. Again, they fall to the material world, having enjoyed the pleasures of the immense celestial realms. Right. So those who worship Indra, those who worship even Shankar, those who worship Durga, what to speak of the sun god or moon god or any one of the so many millions of demigods. The maximum they can achieve is the destination of the planet of those demigods, but they cannot stay there. That much they gave charity, that much they did yagya, that long they stay there and not more. And when the results of their activities are finished, again they come to this material world. Bhagavatam describes when you go to the celestial planets, you take birth and immediately become 16 years old. No, not like this material world, right? This material world, this earth planet, for example, so long you suffer in the womb and you take birth as a horrible little child, and you suffer through babyhood, then childhood, then you go through school or high school, so much suffering till you reach 16, 17. But the demigods are not like that. The demigods take birth and immediately become 16 years old, full blossomed youth, no suffering of childhood. Okay, this is a little materialistic, but also it's there. In this world, like man and woman have sex, immediately the woman becomes pregnant, then 9 months have to suffer. But in the celestial realms, it's not like that. They enjoy unlimited sex life, but they not become pregnant till the end of their lives. Then the woman gives birth, the child grows up, then they also fall. So demigods all have celestial garlands with intoxicating fragrance, and these garlands never fade. Anyway, so if you read Vedas, so many descriptions in there of the heavenly planets. Then ordinary persons think, oh, I should sacrifice a little in this material world, this earth planet. Because in this earth planet, youth is how long? I don't know, 16 to 29, 30 maximum. After that, you begin to go downhill. So I sacrifice a little in this world and I get so much enjoyment in the next world. But Krishna describes one should not endeavor that. Even the heavenly planets, there's also fear of death. They live millions of years, but they also fear death. They fear the time factor. The demigods have their celestial garlands. These never become faded or decay. But at the end of their life, the demigods fade. The flower garland of the demigods fade and then they die. So demigods always looking at their flower garland. How long I have left? How long can I stay? The demigods always fear. Soon the demons may come and again capture this place. Maybe they make some offense, they get thrown out of the heavenly planets. Often this happens also. They're also full of lust, like mad. They cannot live one moment without material enjoyment. No. So that heavenly planet also no place of peace. There is also so much lust, so much anxiety. There is also fear. There is also envy. How many times we heard if someone performs 100 yagas, then they can attain the position of Indra. So all the demigods also envious of the human beings. Oh, if they see any human being, it says in 12th canto, the demigods see anyone take sannyas, the demigods become afraid. This person will do austerities and become more than us. So the demigods take birth in the form of that sannyasi's relatives, children, wife, to again entangle them in material existence. So demigod position also lamentable. This is not so great like people think. So Krishna says after doing great austerities, they go there, but they cannot stay. Again, they fall. So what is the use in the worship of the demigods? So Krishna says, you should think of me. You should worship me. Ananya's famous verse, Ananya's chinta yukto mam Anantyas chinta yukto mam yejano parupasate tesham nitya vinyuktanam yogikshamam bahamyam. Famous verse. Remember it, Rahul? Okay, chapter 9, verse 22. Ananyas chintayuktamam yejana parupasate. Those who worship me with ananyaman, whose minds never deviate from me for a second. They are always absorbed in thoughts of me. They worship me completely with one-pointed devotion. Whatever they need, I carry, I give. And whatever they have, I protect. Like yesterday in Mongalati, after Mongalati, Didi opened her eyes and she said, what is this? How Thakurji amazing. This Navadvip so amazing. We close our eyes and where are we? Vrindavan. Then we open our eyes, what? I'm here. Then she was like astonished. Thakurji, so much potency, so much power. And what we are thinking during Mongalati, when we hear this, we feel shame. How much fully absorbed in Mongalati she is. No, really. This was like, I'd never seen her do like that. Oh, what is this? Where am I? Oh, like this. So much absorbed. So one who thinks like that, whatever they need, Krishna gives. And whatever they have, Krishna maintains. I think Guru Maharaj would tell one famous story, and it's also mentioned here. Bhaktivinoda Thakur not mentions, but Gurudev in his commentary of his Gita, he mentions. Krishna says, who only thinks of me what he needs, I carry. Here's Roho's cat. And whatever he has, I protect. So Guru Maharaj tells, there's a famous story of one devotee, his name was Arjuna Mishra. He was Brahmin and fully absorbed in studying Bhagavat Gita and the worship of Krishna, chanting his names. Chandrika, can you understand my English? Is it too fast? Is it too fast?
It's okay, Gurudev.
One time Gurudev said, I won't tell you what he said. I'll finish the story. So, Gurudev would always tell me, slow down when you speak. So, Arjuna Mishra was one-pointed devotee and completely niskinchan. Means he not prayed to Krishna, give me this, give me that. So he was very poor. And one day he read this verse of Bhagavat Gita because he was always studying it. And he thought this verse cannot be real. This verse must have been added later by someone. Why? I never think of anything else except Krishna, but look at my condition. If I have something to eat at breakfast, then I have to think what I'm going to eat at night. And if I eat at night, I have to think what's for breakfast. Means very miserable condition materially. So I have no possessions, but I always think of Krishna. Also, this verse says Krishna personally carries. Then he thought, Krishna has not personally carried anything from me. Maybe indirectly he inspires through the super soul, someone give this man 5 rupees. No, but Krishna not personally carried. So the more he thought about this verse, the more he thought, oh, this verse is wrong. This verse cannot be correct. So he took his pen and he crossed out those last 3 lines. Then he went for bhiksha, means he went to beg. But very strange thing, no matter how many houses he went to ask for donation, no one gave anything. Not 1 grain of rice, not 1 potato. Everyone had some excuse. Oh, Baba, no, now my grandfather died, so our family 21 days impure. We cannot give any donation for 21 days. No, everyone had some problem. No one could give anything. So not even 1 grain of rice. So with a broken heart, he came back to the house. Not broken heart, but disappointed must be. Meanwhile, his wife was inside. Who is this? Oh, Guru Ma, open the door. Guru Ma. Guru Ma means wife of the Guru, no? So the wife of Guru, the wife of the Brahmin is also a mother. So she thought, my husband has no disciples. Why this person is calling me Guru Ma? Oh, yes, yes, I am a disciple of your husband, mother. Please open, please open. So she opened the door and she saw one very beautiful, dark complexioned boy. Very handsome, very sweet. And this boy was carrying a big basket. You know, in India that they carry, in China you see. This pole, on both ends of the pole was some big weight full of rice, dal, ghee, spices, vegetables, flour, salt, many things. And very heavy. She saw this boy was also so much perspiring because heavy load. Oh, her heart melted when she saw this boy. Oh, come in, come in. Where did you get all these things? Oh, your husband collected on Bhiksha and he ordered me to carry these back home. Then wife became disturbed. How my husband could make such a small boy carry such a big load? So she was not satisfied on her husband. Oh, my child, have you eaten? No, no, sit here quickly. I make you something. Sit, sit. And she began talking to that boy very sweetly. Then the boy turned around. She saw in the back of that boy was 3 scratches. And some blood had come. You know when you get some scratch from the cat, like Raho's playing with the cat, right? So some cat scratched and some blood comes a little bit. So she asked, my boy, what happened to your back? When I told your husband, oh, just give me a few minutes, I will carry a little later, he became angry and he beat me. The wife became angry. Oh, my husband is a big cheater. He's always pretending to be such a self-controlled Brahmin, but he cannot have mercy on even a small child. So this way she was like little abusing the husband and talking with the boy. Then after a few minutes, some knocking. Who is there? I am your husband, open. Then the wife began to abuse her husband through the door. Oh, you are very cruel. That small boy you made carry all the vegetables. Then husband said, woman, are you crazy? Today, not even 1 grain of rice. I got not even 1 gallo pinto, frioli, nothing. And you said so much rice, so much grain, so much vegetables, so much ghee. Yes, yes. So she opened the door and really the husband saw piles, mountains of vegetables, ghee, rice, friolis, everything. Who has brought this? You know you sent? No, I'm not sent. That dark complexion boy? No, no, I'm not good. The husband really didn't know what she was talking about. She described everything. Where is that boy? She looked and he was gone. But Guru Maharaj said one little thread from his yellow pitamba, his yellow cloth was there on the floor, like witness, praman. Then husband began thinking, no, who is this small boy carrying so many vegetables? He had 3 marks on his back. Then boy thought, what, the Arjun Mishra thought, what is this? And he ran and looked and saw these 3 lines of the Gita, these 3 lines taken out. And the Brahmin began weeping because Bhagavat Gita is Krishna's body. So scratching Gita means scratching Krishna. That Brahmin so much wept. Really, Krishna kept his promise in the Gita. Who only thinks of him, what he needs, I give, and what he has, I protect. So sometimes this is one of the limbs of surrender. 6 limbs of surrender is sadhanagati. Anukulena sankalpa pratikula savaj rakshishati biswase gopte varanam tata. Krishna will maintain me and Krishna will protect me. So actually this feeling Krishna is my maintainer. What I need Krishna will give. This is the main limb of saranagati. This is the angi. And the other 5 limbs are angas of saranagati. One time Srila Gogomaj gave a class and he was talking about this. Hang on, let's plug in my phone. Then he said, we should have full faith Krishna was maintaining. Then he turned to one disciple and said, why are you working like a donkey? And this man said, oh, Gurudev, I have wife and children I have to maintain. Then Gogomaj roared. he said, one who has taken Diksha should never work. He should have full faith. Krishna will maintain. I remember. And this disciple becomes so much afraid, Gurudev, I have wife and children. Then Gaudiya Maharaj roared at him, because you have no faith in Krishna, you have to work like a donkey, because you have no faith. One who has faith, he knows Krishna will maintain everything. One time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was testing Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur had wife Malini Devi, great devotee of Nityananda Prabhu. So many children he must have. Isn't it afterwards one of Sri Srivas Thakur's child, Gopal, he died in the kirtan. No? All the women were crying. Then Srivas came in the back. What happened? Your son has died. I think his name was Gopal. Your son Gopal has died. Then Srivas Thakur roared, "Oh women, stop your crying. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears your weeping and knows that my son has died, his mood will be disturbed in the kirtan. I cannot tolerate that you break the happiness of my Sachinandana. So I cannot stop you crying, but I promise you, if you keep crying, I will go to the Ganga and commit suicide." Then those women silent, because fear, because Srivas Thakur will really do it. And all women controlled themselves. Srivas Thakur went back and danced in kirtan. And in the morning, Mahaprabhu asked, "Srivas, did anything inauspicious happen in your household?" "No, Prabhu. You are the embodiment of all auspiciousness. How anything bad could happen?" Found out that Srivas' son had died. Anyway, so Srivas Thakur had wife, had children, 4 brothers. Even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, Srivas Thakur and all 4 brothers would chant Sankirtan every night, all night. They would do Nam Sankirtan. So that means they never worked. So one day Mahaprabhu asked Srivas, "You have a big family, you are not working, how will you maintain everyone?" Then Srivas clapped 3 times. And Mahaprabhu asked, "Oh, what does that mean?" Then Srivas said, "The first day we get nothing to eat, we will fast, no problem. Second day, we will also fast. And if the third day there's nothing to eat, I will take my whole family and we will commit suicide in the Ganga, because that means Krishna's promise in the Bhagavat Gita is wrong. Krishna promises to maintain the children. And when we say, 'Roho, come to India,' Roho says, 'No, I'm Grihastha, I have wife and children, I cannot do it.' Okay, so don't worry. Roho thinks I am maintaining family. No. Always remember Bhagavan maintains. Maintains millions of universes. Why he will not maintain us? One story I heard. One day Rukmini was thinking, really? Krishna maintains everyone? Really? So she had one tilak box. And in that box, she put one ant in the tilak box and closed the lid. Let's see if Krishna maintains him also. After a few days, she opened the tilak box and the ant was still alive. Then she was astonished, and Krishna could see what's happening. Then, Rukmini, why you are testing me? Then Rukmini said, "Yes, Prabhu." Then how ant is alive? In that tilak was one little piece of sugar Krishna had kept there for him. Anyways, we all have this problem. Oh, I have to work. How will I maintain? I have to make so many plans. I'm also all are like that. No, anyway, no need, because Krishna is maintaining everything. So, what need to worship anyone else except for Krishna? Right? So Krishna says the karmis are thinking, "Oh, I have to worship this demigod, I have to worship that demigod." But yepe anyatavata bhakta yajanti shadayanvita yepe mam evakunta yajanti avidipurvakam. Famous verses. For preaching in Hindu, we have to know these verses. Ye api anyatavata yajanti shadayanvita. Those who worship other demigods, they worship me, but in the wrong way. Okay? They worship, because who are the demigods? We already heard in the previous verses. The demigods are Krishna. Krishna has become the demigods. Okay? Because there's nothing separate from Krishna. Krishna is Sarvarup. Whatever form we see in the world, that is Krishna. a little indirect. So those who worship the other demigods with faith in Krishna, who gives that faith? Krishna says, I give that faith. No? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary says, we should not think, I will worship the demigods and the demigods will give me faith in Krishna. No. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the demigods cannot even give their worshippers faith in themselves. Then how they could possibly give faith in Krishna? So Krishna is the Lord of Shraddha. So who gives faith in anything or anyone? That is Krishna, no one else. Yepe anya devata bhakta. So the worshippers of the other demigods, yajante shraddhayan vata, they worship those demigods with faith. Tepi mam eva kunteya. Yajante avidipur. They worship me, but in the wrong way. No. Actually, Srila Gogama said, Indra, Shiva, Brahma, these are all names of Krishna also. These are all names of Krishna. No. So the demigods like Krishna's vibhuti, Krishna's expansions, Krishna's agents, Krishna's potencies, in whatever way you want to describe it, Krishna's empowered servants. But at the end of the day, no, they are Krishna. But those who worship the demigods, they're worshiping Krishna, but in the wrong way. No? Then Bhagavatam give example, like you give water to the tree, where you give the water, no need to give the water on the leaves or the twigs. You have to give the water on the roots. No, Saraswati Thakur, even though he was such a great scholar, he would tell many funny little stories. These are called Upadeshavalis. He would call funny little stories he would tell. Because he would preach also in the villages to common persons, then give some examples. He said one day, all the senses went on strike. Eyes, nose, tongue, hands, legs. No, they said, what is this? We are doing all the work and the stomach is just enjoying the result. So why should the stomach enjoy? We will not tolerate that. So all the senses went on strike. We will not feed the stomach. So what happened? Of course, all senses did not feed the stomach. Everyone became weak. So this, and also if you push food in the nose, if you push food in the nostril, if you push food in the eyes, if you push food anywhere else, then body not get the benefit. So Krishna says, no need to worship me in the form of the demigods, worship me directly. So Krishna said, they worship me, but avidipurvakam. They worship me, but in the wrong way. Okay. Let me just read the commentary of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In reality, I, Krishna, the embodiment of eternality, cognizance, knowledge, and concentrated bliss, Satchidananda, I'm the only supreme controller, the Parameshwar. There is no demigod independent of me. In my own Swarup, I'm the transcendental Satchidananda reality, eternally beyond the material creation. Many persons worship demigods such as the sun god, Surya. In other words, conditioned human beings in the material world venerate the majestic feature of my deluding material potency in the form of various demigods and worship them. But by proper deliberation, it can be understood that my vibhutis, my potencies, the demigods, are simply my incarnations of the modes of nature, the guna avatars. Right? Brahman, Shiva, Vishnu, these are guna avatars of Krishna. They preside over different facets of the creation. Those who worship these demigods, knowing their actual position and the reality of my Swarup, understand them to be my guna avatars, qualitative incarnations. Incarnations presiding over material qualities. In this way, their worship is authorized as the progressive path. Independent of me, worshiping an unauthorized. to worship the demigods, thinking them to be separate or independent of Vishnu. So Jiva Goswami in his commentary says, for example, Shiva is not different than Krishna. Right? He's Hariha Ekatma. Hari and Ha are one soul. So to worship Shiva as different than Krishna, this is offense. Right? But to worship Shiva as the same as Krishna, this is also offense. No wonder very few people join Gaudiya Vaishnavism, right? Krishna, it's offensive. You worship him as different from Krishna, it's an offense. So material logic fail. But Vaishnava, we never use material logic. We use achintya, inconceivable logic. There's a story of Thakur from Madhurya Academy to show this point. There was one like village chief in South India, and he was very tamasic, and he was worshipping Lord Shiva. Shiva means the presiding god of tamagun, ignorance. So generally, Lord Shiva's followers are mostly like that also, because you become the same as your object of worship. Those who worship Krishna become like Krishna, transcendental, Brijabasis, right? They become same as Krishna. Those who worship their wives, next life become women, right? They become the same as the object of worship. So the demigods become similar to their demigods. So those who worship Shiva become like that. So he was worshipping Shiva. He had a Brahman, a pujari, he would pay and engage in the service of Shiva. One day the pujari was sick. The Brahman was sick. So that village chief was worried, who will do my worship of Shiva? And he had faith. So one day, as he was thinking this, one Vaishnav came to that village. So the village chief requested him, "O Brahman, no, I request you, please perform the worship of Shiva for me. I will give you this, I will give you that." Then the Brahman said, who was a Vaishnav, "I'm sorry, I cannot do that, because we are the Ekantic devotees of Lord Vishnu. Those who worship Bhagavan Sri Krishna have no need of worshipping any demigod. No need. So please forgive me, I cannot do like that." So that village chief became angry. He took out his sword. "If you don't worship Shiva and respect my Shiva, I'll chop off your head." So the Vaishnava was in a difficult situation. So he thought carefully, where is my Prabhu? Where is Lord Vishnu? Lord Vishnu in the heart of everyone. He's there as the super soul. So he also present in the heart of Lord Shiva. Also, Shiva is a presiding deity of ignorance, Tamagun. And who destroys ignorance? That is especially Nrsingadev, Bhagavan Nrsingadev. So Nrsingadev is also there in the form of Paramatma, in the heart of Shiva also. So he took those flowers and offered to the deity of Shiva, but he offered the mantra to Nrsingadev, no? In his mind. Om Vishnuvaya Namaha. I offer these flowers to Lord Vishnu. So that village chief became very angry. He took his sword and went to cut the head off the Vaishnava. But Nrsingadev could not tolerate, how he protected Prahlad in the same way he protected this devotee. So from the Murti of Shiva, Nrsingadev manifested and took the head off that village chief. So that deity of Shiva is still there today, half Shiva Lingam and half Murti of Nrsingadev. I have not seen it personally, but in Madhurya Academy, people saw the worship of demigods. Very hard to pull them out of that. So all this 9th chapter, Krishna speaks for them. They worship me, but in the wrong way. I pervade everything. I am everything. No? But they worship things apart from me. This is worshiping me, but in the wrong way. Okay. Aham hi sava yajanam bhakta cha prabhu eva cha natu mam avajanati tatvanas cha javanti te. I am the only master. I am the only enjoyer. Krishna is speaking. Aham hi sava yajanam. All the yagyas, this fire sacrifice people do for the demigod, the actual enjoyer of that is only Vishnu. In the heavenly planets, the demigods also sometimes do big yagya, but the goal is only to please Vishnu, no one else. So if someone does some worship, some austerities, gives some charity for something apart from the worship of Vishnu, this is illegal. In the sense they worship, all that will go to Krishna. No? But the worshipper will not go to Krishna. Right? Krishna is the only enjoyer, so he's the enjoyer of all sacrifice. No? So everyone who's worshipping Krishna, there's nothing else to worship. In the next verse, we will hear about this. The worship all goes to Krishna, but the worshipper will not go to Krishna. Right? Those who worship the demigods, all the worship will go to Krishna. But because they have not worshipped Krishna, the worshipper will not go to Krishna. Okay, Rahul, just say in Spanish so it's clear for everyone.
Can you repeat it, Maharaj, please?
I knew you weren't paying attention. Those who worship the demigods, all the worship goes to Krishna because he is the only enjoyer. But that worshipper will not go to Krishna. Okay, so aham hi sava yajanam bhakta cha prabhu eva cha. I am the only master. I am the only enjoyer of all sacrifices. But those who do not recognize my transcendental body fall down repeatedly within the cycle of birth and death. Yanti deva brata deva pitra yanti pita brata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mab yajanopime. Famous verses. Those who worship the demigods, where do they go, Roho? To the demigods. Those who worship the forefathers, like in China, so many people worship forefather. Where they go? Forefather. Those who worship the ghosts, where do they go? To the ghosts. And those who worship me, come to me. Is it very difficult to worship Krishna? One may think, no. Patra pushpam tadampayam yamabhakti prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam asnami prayatmana. If any devotee offers me a fruit, a flower, even a glass of water, Krishna says, with devotion, I will surely accept that gift. Even the poorest man can give a glass of water to Krishna, a flower, a leaf, especially tulsi leaf. Yad karosi yadasnasi yad jahosi dadasi yad tapasasi kuntaya yad karosa roho madarpanam. Whatever activities you perform, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, and whatever austerities you perform, do all this as an offering to me. Okay? In this way, you'll be free from the bondage of auspicious and inauspicious results. Being blessed with renunciation by offering me the results of all your activities, you will become distinguished even amongst the liberated souls, and you will surely attain me. So all this we will explain more on probably Wednesday. We'll probably do another English class. Are there any questions? Sarah, any questions? Where's Sarah gone?
I'm
Manorama, any questions?
Yeah,
Okay, anyway, at your convenience, you read a little bit through this 9th chapter. Read it again and again during the day, then these points go in. Okay. Yes, okay. Haribol, thank you. Today is something important happening here in Mayapur, so everyone should pray for some good luck for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see you everyone on Wednesday. This is nice today. I like doing this. Feels good. Okay, thank you everyone very much.
Srimad Bhaktivedanta Damodara
Guru
Maharaj
Hare
ki jai.
Jai Gurudeva ki jai.
Thank you,
Hari
Krishna
Bol
Maharaj.
Guru